Welcome to the Spiritist Companion podcast. My name is Yuri Castro, and I'll be your companion on this journey where we study, reflect, and put Spiritist teachings into practice. If you enjoyed what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to follow our pages, and most importantly, to send this podcast to someone else as well. My dear friends, today's topic is one that nobody chooses, but everyone faces. There is no life without adversity, quote-unquote lemons. You might be in a calm season right now, or you might be in the middle of something very heavy. But at some point, and probably at several points actually, life presents situations we didn't ask for, didn't want, and don't quite know how to get through. How to deal with that is the question I want to sit with you on today. And I think that there is this phrase that comes almost automatically when something very hard happens to us. Why is this happening to me? It's an honest question. It's a human question. And I think it deserves an honest answer. Not some quick comfort or catchphrase, but a real attempt to understand what adversity means from a Spiritist perspective. If we go to the book The Gospel According to Spiritism, back in 1864 when the codifier of Spiritism, Allan Kardec, published it, we go to the chapter of Blessed are the Afflicted, where we see the codifier addressing some of the cause of life's tribulations. And what he says there is one of the most, I think, radical ideas in the entire Spiritist movement. He explains through the knowledge passed on by the spirits that certain difficulties are a natural consequence of our own choices. Others are part of trials that the spirit itself, before reincarnating, considered necessary for its progress. And that is something we have already talked about in other episodes of the Spiritist Companion podcast as well. And there's a specific passage that has stayed with me. That's the one when he talks about how spirits who actively seek out harder trials because they want to repair the wrong they've done and progress more quickly. I think that's something completely contrary, or it inverts the logic we usually apply to suffering. Because I think we tend to assume, in general, that suffering is something that happens against us, that it's a failure, an injustice, a punishment. But Allan Kardec there proposes that in many cases, the difficulties we face may have been accepted by us, by ourselves, at a level our current memory cannot reach, as instruments of growth, of the real growth, my dear friends, the growth of the spirit. But before going further, let's clarify something here. Let's open an important parenthesis. This teaching is very frequently misunderstood and can be used in a way that helps nobody. Saying that, for instance, trials have a purpose is not the same as saying the pain does not matter. It's not saying someone should simply accept everything and do nothing, or minimizing the suffering of someone going through something devastating, as we have talked before in terms of the silent strength that is resignation. Spiritism will never ask us to pretend that the suffering is not there. It's going to ask that in the middle of the suffering, we do not lose our perspective. We do not lose our focus. And then we talk about the shift in this question that I've mentioned before as well. And I think it makes an enormous difference in how we move through difficulties. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Which is a legitimate question, but one that often has no immediate answer and leaves us stuck in a place of revolt. We can try asking, what is this experience trying to teach me? It's not an easy question, of course. Changing that is not easy. And the answer may not show up right away, but it's going to change our mindset, our posture, the way we look at things, and the way we face these adversities. Instead of waiting for the pain to justify itself, we start looking for what we can do with it, what we can learn with that. Another point that Spiritism talks about when it mentions that we are immortal beings that bring a lot of baggage with us is that a lot of the times adversity is going to reveal, is not going to create necessarily. When life gives us lemons, we need to make a lemonade, but we already make it with what we have. Because when everything is going well, it's relatively easy to be patient, to be kind, generous. We don't really know what we're made of because we've never really been tested. But it's the crisis that show what is there, what remained, what grew, and what still needs to grow. And of course, it's not comforting, I know, in the sense of easing the pain, but it is revealing in the sense that adversity serves a function that goes beyond suffering itself. It is, among other things, a mirror. It's going to reveal, it's going to show, reflect what's already there. Also in chapter 19 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, we have the codifier Allan Kardec talking about unshakable faith. And faith that he talks there is not that believing that nothing hard will ever happen or a magical protection against adversity. Absolutely not. The unshakable faith in the face of adversity is the trust that God is there. God still remains even when everything around us seems to be falling apart. That the situation is not the end of the story, that there is a presence walking alongside us even when we can't feel it sometimes because of the pain. Faith will not remove the storm, my dear friends, but it will certainly keep us from losing our bearings in the middle of it. This too shall pass is something that we often talk about. And when we're suffering, that's one of the hardest things, I think, to believe, is that this shall pass, because pain at its peak feels permanent. It feels like it will always be this way. And it doesn't help much for someone on the outside to say everything will be okay, because from the inside it doesn't feel like it will. But time is real. Circumstances do change. We change. The spirit learns, and in learning begins to carry things differently. And I think another thing that Spiritism brings, another teaching, and I wanted to leave this one here because I think it can make a real difference in the hardest moments, is that we are never alone. We learn through Spiritism that God never imposes a trial beyond the strength of the one who receives it. Of course, it's not easy to believe that when we're at the bottom, but it's what the Spiritist movement affirms, that there is always resources to face what is before us, and even when those resources are not visible to us at the moment. My dear friends, we are never completely alone. The good spirits walk with us, inspire us, strengthen us, even when we feel nothing beyond the pain. So let's see how we can apply this teaching into our daily lives. Well, first of all, let's talk about something very real: financial hardship. When things get truly tight, the despair is real and legitimate. But there's something many people report afterward, that during a period of material instability, they discovered they needed less than they thought, found creativity they didn't know they had, learned to depend on people in ways they never needed before. It doesn't make the crisis feel good, but it shows that it wasn't only loss. Illness. Nobody chooses to get sick. I was sick this week and last week. I lost my voice for 10 days. It was not fun. And it would be dishonest for me to say that every illness brings learning. Sometimes it just hurts and that's it. But many people report that sickness can put them in contact with dimensions of life that health doesn't reach. If that has not happened to you, maybe with someone that you know for sure. A deeper appreciation of time, for instance, clarity about who is actually there beside us, helping us. A compassion for others who suffer that only comes from having suffered ourselves. We can also think of a loss. I'm not going to try to summarize grief in a podcast episode, even though we already talked about it a few episodes back. But what Spiritism offers, my dear friends, is to someone who has lost a loved one, is concrete, which is the certainty that bonds don't break with death, that the separation is real and painful, but it isn't permanent, that the love that was built continues to exist, even in a form that we can no longer perhaps see or perhaps touch. Lastly, family conflict. Difficult relationships are perhaps the most constant trials because they have no end date. You can't simply resolve it and move on. You have to keep living alongside a situation that hurts a lot of the times. And even for years, who knows? What Spiritism offers here isn't an easy solution. It's the perspective that perhaps these difficult bonds exist for many reasons that go beyond what we can currently see, and how we respond to them matters spiritually. My dear friends, when this existence that we're currently in ends, we won't take money or status or anything we accumulated materially. We'll take what grew inside, what the adversity helped reveal, helped even create, the patience that was built in a situation that seems impossible to endure, the humility that came from a fall, the compassion that only comes from having truly suffered, the love that survived everything that tried to destroy it. And perhaps it is in adversity, above all, that most of these things will reveal and will develop. My dear friends, I don't know what you're facing when you're listening to this. It might be something small, or it might be something weighing on you in a way that words cannot quite reach. What I can say, though, is what Spiritism says with conviction, that the pain has a larger context than we can see from here. The trials are never arbitrary, and the spirit that moves through difficulties with honesty, that spirit comes out different on the other side. With scars, yes, but more whole than when it went in. Thank you for being with me on another episode of the Spiritist Companion podcast. I hope this was useful to you, even if just a little, and if it was, please send it to someone else as well, so we may spread the seeds of light together. Hope to see you next week for another episode of the Spiritist Companion podcast, usually Mondays. This time, because of health reasons, it was on Wednesday. But until then, keep walking under the light of the gospel. With fraternal love, your Spiritist Companion.